Welcome to the Read Your Keys podcast, another edition of the college football edition of the Read Your Keys podcast. Go ahead and like, subscribe, smash, pulverize, squish those follow buttons. We're on iTunes, Spotify, and YouTube. Ricky Baby.
What's up, Big Sexy?
Another week of college football. I think last week was these last 2 weeks have been really good. Some big things, some big things shaking up. Nothing like the gauntlet that is the college football season. Right over the gate. I think the big game from last week was the Georgia-Kentucky game. Georgia just continues to do Georgia things.
It was billed as a big game, but in reality, we knew Kentucky was like out of their league. Plain and simple.
They were
Florida, but they were not. They weren't going to touch Georgia, and they didn't. I think they had like some very small number, 100-something yards total offense, like for most of the game. Like Georgia just shut them down. That defense is for real and vicious and ferocious. You're not scoring on Georgia.
No, that's the thing that's been super impressive about them is just how they're just dismantling, offenses that are good offenses. I mean, Kentucky had been scoring points before
against
Arkansas was a big one, the shutout, right? The shutout to Arkansas. So I'm looking at their scores right now.
You said Kentucky had been scoring points.
Yes.
Against?
Let's see.
Florida.
Yeah, they got dogs.
Florida gives the points. Florida has to outscore you.
20, 21. Yeah, I guess their offense hasn't been the best. But I'm going back to
they haven't played anybody.
Going back to Georgia, though. I mean, shut out Vandy, shut out Arkansas, 10 to Auburn, 13 to Kentucky. I mean, I will back to it. Like this isn't the even the early 2010s. Everybody's running the spread offenses as designed to score points. It's hard to get stops now. To get shutouts is super impressive now. It's not like it was in the 90s where we're lining up and you could just you could win low scoring games. You have to score points. These guys are shutting them down.
Well, Kirby Smart's a defensive guy, right?
Yeah, but I mean, so is Saban. They're not shutting people down. No, who is shutting people down now?
You know why Saban's not shutting people down? Because he has to reload with freshmen every year, and their secondary gets lit up every now and then. But they stepped up against Mississippi State.
But it seems like it's been that way for 3 or 4 years. Like Bama hasn't been shutting people out. Like no. they put the clamps on them, and they're slow. Everybody now is slowing people down.
Yeah, Bama bends, but doesn't.
Georgia is shutting them out. That's a whole different story. Like the Arkansas to me is even more impressive because I've seen them play. They're impressive. I really like the quarterback. Is it KJ? I keep on forgetting his name. It's KJ. He's fun to watch to me.
Mm-hmm.
Put the clamps on him, son.
Georgia's good. I mean, I'm not hating on that defense at all. They're ferocious. Georgia is on a collision course right now with Alabama.
Oh boy, that's gonna be good too, man.
I'm saying it all year. Georgia's on a collision course.
That's gonna be a good. So I mean, Georgia.
It's a 2-game series.
Georgia has been head and shoulders the most impressive team so far. And you know what? The quarterback play is it's all right compared to some of the other ones.
Well, Georgia's defense.
Oh, I was gonna tell you this. It's not JT Daniels that's starting. It's the Stetson kid. He played the whole game. They're not rotating quarterbacks.
I think with Daniels hurt. Daniels isn't helping.
Oh, is that what it happened?
Yeah, I don't think he's ready to come in yet. But with that said, Georgia's defense is covering all the ineptitudes of the Georgia offense.
Oh man, but the running backs are awesome. Like that's the first time I saw the running backs play. Man,
they've always had awesome running backs.
Oh man, yeah. Going back to who's the guy for the Rams for a while?
Gurley.
Todd Gurley, yeah.
And they were rotating Chubbs and
Chubb. Yeah, Nick Chubb. That's a sweet tailback name.
Mm-hmm.
But now they had a kid from Fresno. What's his name? Milton, I think his name is. Kendall Milton, I think. He's a Fresno kid.
Mm-hmm.
But all those guys, like they were 6'2", 230, just running with
and
angry. Running angry. Help. Ooh. Yeah.
It's gonna be I'm looking forward to that game. Yeah. I want Bama and Georgia winning out.
Mm-hmm.
I want that collision.
Yeah, they got to be in the playoffs.
And it's going to be a must-win for Bama because they don't make the playoffs if they lose.
Yeah, if they don't. Let's go to the next game. Iowa, your favorite team.
No. They're like Cincinnati. They shouldn't be there. And they're not anymore.
24-7. I didn't watch that game, but you sent me a text during the game. You're like, they are rotating 3 quarterbacks. 3 of them.
Terrible.
I've never heard of that. 2.
Me either.
Yes.
Me either.
3. It's like, did somebody get hurt?
That's why their offense is like the worst offense in the history of any number 2 ranked team.
Oh, the Iowa.
Yep.
I thought you were talking about Purdue.
Iowa.
You know, the Purdue coach is Brian Brom, I think, right? He was kind of a hot coach for a minute. His name had been coming up for a little bit, but a coach hearing 3 quarterbacks being rotated, that's just like a mortal football sin.
You knew Iowa was going to go down. I didn't think it'd be against Purdue, but I'm not surprised they lost.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't have trouble scoring. They had trouble scoring from all season long.
All season.
Yeah,
their total yardage, their points, it's just not there.
Yeah, I think.
But I haven't watched them all year, so.
No, me either. But yeah, I mean that's. I'm gonna hate to say it, but it's like, all right, man, I'm glad back. That one's kind of checked.
Get them out.
Yeah, get them out. We don't want.
I want a good top 4. I want a good playoffs. I don't want Iowa and Cincinnati muddying the waters and getting massacred.
No. Bama goes back on track against Mississippi State.
Yes, they did.
I was watching the game. Mississippi State was moving the ball until like the quarterback would make a mistake. So I could see what you're talking about with like the defense, like bend but don't break.
Mm-hmm.
That was really the MO. On offense, I mean, they got dudes, and Bryce Young continues to be impressive.
They have Robinson at running back. They got Mechie, and I think his name's Williams.
They have a tight end. They have a tight end. Latu.
And then their offensive line is massive. So Bama's fine.
Yeah, the thing is, you'd rather if you had your choice now. You want an offense that can score and a bend but don't break defense. Whereas in the past, you wanted a stifling defense and an offense that would give you a kind of puncher's chance. You gotta be able to put up points now.
But here's the thing: it's almost like Bama is not as dominant. This isn't as dominant team as the ones in the past because they struggled towards the end against a very inconsistent Florida team that just got beat by LSU. Florida's defense isn't that good. And Florida's offense is always inconsistent. They lit up points against Bama's D.
Well, the reason that Kentucky was ranked so high was because they beat Florida. Was part of it.
Yeah, that was part of their high. Which Kentucky, that was an overrated 11.
I don't know if it's overrated 11. I mean, they just played the number 1 team in a very dominant number 1 team.
They did, but Kentucky. Don't get me wrong. If you're comparing Kentucky to other Kentucky programs, this is a very good Kentucky team. If you're comparing Kentucky as a contender in the SEC, no, they're not.
Oh no, yeah, that's the thing is, first of all, you're talking about the premier conference with the premier teams that has Bama
and they're in Georgia. That conference,
and
so they never had a shot.
But I'm saying as a top 15 team, that was an appropriate ranking for them. I mean, if you look who's a better team, like Kentucky
Underneath them,
or
I'd have to look.
Michigan State, like I would take Kentucky over Michigan State, who's a like a top 10 team. Who else? Where did I have it here?
Name them.
Okay,
Whoa,
so
whoa,
let's
whoa.
see.
Name 12 on down because Kentucky's 11 at the time.
Well, at the time they were 11. So now you have Okay, so Oregon is number 10. No, Michigan is this week. Michigan is number 9. I would pick Kentucky over Michigan.
You would?
Yeah.
Okay.
Michigan State. I'm sorry, Michigan State.
Okay.
Sorry.
I think they can go either way.
No, Kentucky. I had to pick them. Oregon is number 10. Are you going to pick this Kentucky team over Oregon?
I can go either way.
Iowa.
Iowa doesn't impress me at all. I would take Kentucky.
So you would take Kentucky. Here's one where you might be like, okay, this is kind of like a toss up. Ole Miss is at 12 right now.
I'd take Ole Miss.
But it's a game though.
Yeah, it's a game.
You see it's like equal programs. 13 Notre Dame.
Whew. Sheesh. Yeah. All right, I see your point.
Yeah. You can't. We're not comparing them.
I can't say I'm giving it to Notre Dame by any stretch of the imagination.
The other thing here is you have Coastal Carolina at 14.
I'm taking Kentucky.
Yeah, that's what I mean. This is a better program than in the past for Kentucky.
Good job.
But it's top 15. This is not the top 4 elite, but this is definitely somebody who you don't want to. You're not gonna. They're gonna win a lot more games. They're gonna lose.
Usually you don't have the skill set and the capacity to sway me like this.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm kind of impressed with how I taught you how to put together an argument step by step. So this is your coach and mentor being very proud right now.
Okay. The student has surpassed the teacher.
Well, I didn't say that, but yeah.
Oh, no, not yet. That never happens, right?
No.
Maybe it might be the wisdom of you realizing that, hey, you don't know it all.
It could be that too.
That
the combination of the two. Yeah.
So let's see. Bama's back on track. Arkansas loses to Auburn. I was pulling for Arkansas.
Yeah, but Arkansas is like Kentucky, except Arkansas got a much tougher schedule.
Man, that's brutal.
So you could flip those two around. If Kentucky was here, we'd be talking about Kentucky, but they got a brutal schedule. If Arkansas was there, they would play in Georgia for the SEC title, right?
Yeah, I look at it like Georgia and Bama are 10s. These Auburn or not Auburn, Arkansas, Kentucky, they're like these are like 7s. Mississippi, Ole Miss.
You think Mississippi's a 7 or an 8?
I think they're like 7s.
I think Mississippi's better. Mississippi's only loss was to Bama,
but it wasn't close.
Of course, it wasn't close. I mean,
Texas A&M beat Bama. Florida got
but
closer.
Texas A&M going to beat Mississippi.
Florida played tougher.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So that to me it's like a 7.
Okay. I wish that Caldoza would have got his act together sooner, so they would have beaten. Who'd they lose to? The Arkansas game. Fine, you lost to Arkansas. That's a good team, but there was a game they should not have lost to.
Yeah, they're back in the top 25 already. I mean, the Bama win is a huge one.
Yeah, because they beat Bama.
Let me go to see.
And they routed Missouri, so they did not let down. But can you imagine A&M?
They play. So they lost. They lost back to back, man. They lost to Arkansas. They lost to Mississippi State.
Right, Mississippi State. And so what happened was they struggled with Colorado. So now Calzado,
yeah,
was he hadn't got his bearings yet with the first team. Now he gets all these reps, and he found his groove against Bama.
It's a crazy time to find your groove, but
And
I
I don't
mean,
think he did bad
I don't know.
against Mississippi
Missouri is not a
Terrible.
top program right now. So it's one of those things where it's like, hey, let's just see if there's a letdown. There wasn't. Okay, let's kind of see for the next
But
week.
that's not the same team. Missouri is like Colorado.
No,
And they
I would say
struggled,
Missouri is way better than Colorado.
but
Colorado's
they
a mess.
struggled mightily against Colorado.
Yeah, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Because he hadn't gotten rest. So it took him 2 to 3 weeks to be acclimated, is what I'm saying.
Um, Auburn over Arkansas. I could see that coming though. This is just a brutal stretch. I
Which
can't
Bo
think of.
Nix shows up
Yeah, that was the one.
and their backup's good.
Um, all right, this was crazy. This was on the SEC network, so I didn't get to see it. But Ole Miss, Tennessee.
I saw it.
Oh, you saw it. So the last I don't know what
49 seconds.
5 minutes of the game. They had
It was 49 seconds.
It was 49 seconds in the game. Is that what it was? Because I'm going off the timer. I was watching it on YouTube. So there was they're down by 5.
Yeah, 4th and 24.
4th and 24.
I think the guy's name is Hood, the quarterback for Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Throws a bullet that the receiver catches. He gets tackled like about a yard short of the first down marker. The referees did the instant replay and they looked at it. They looked at it for a while, but you knew that he was short, right?
Mm-hmm.
They made the right call, and the fans booted and start pelting the field with golf balls, water bottles, pizza boxes, and all kind of stuff was just flying out of the field.
Mm-hmm.
Game was stopped for about 20, 25 minutes. And then the security finally went up there and started moving the student section. And then, but it was interesting was they're doing all that, but now Mississippi's got the ball and Tennessee's got 3 timeouts. So Mississippi's going to run the ball 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
And they did. And they
stopped them.
They stopped them. They called the timeouts. They got the ball back with most of the time left on the clock. Anyway.
Well, I was watching because I was like, what were they so mad about? Was this Lane Kiffin returning, being pissed off about that? Like I didn't know.
There's a combination thing because they were talking about Lane Kiffin.
Yeah.
But you know what? I was supposed to say that Lane Kiffin handled it very admirably. He didn't say anything bad about Tennessee fans. He said they're very passionate.
Which they are.
In there. Yeah, they are. They haven't, and plus they hadn't won in a while. They really wanted to beat. This was like a rivalry game for them because of
Lane Kiffin. Yeah.
But Lane Kiffin was very cordial. In fact, when he was walking off the field, he threw his
visor.
Out to the crowd. So.
Well, the thing that was crazy though is I was just watching it before we hopped on because I was like, I didn't realize that all this had gone on. They on the punt return, so Ole Miss punts it. They got a great return. They were at midfield, mm-hmm. and they had a good 25, 30 seconds, and they completed a pass, but I think the starter got hurt. Is that what happened? Because it looked like the quarterback came off the field.
Corral?
No, for Tennessee.
Tennessee's quarterback.
That's what I'm saying. Tennessee's quarterback got hurt.
Yeah, he did get hurt. In fact, he could barely walk.
Yeah.
I don't know what the extent of that injury is.
And so, if he stays healthy, that might have ended a different way because he was moving them.
Because Milton came in, who was a transfer from Michigan, who was the starter for the first 2 games, and he lost the starting position. And what he did, he was scrambling, and then he ran.
Yes.
And then he just ran out of bounds. It's like, game's over.
That's it. That was it. And it's like you gotta have the situational awareness, right? It's like
you gotta get that. Thought there was another second left on the clock, but
you gotta figure they had to have had that conversation.
You gotta throw that ball somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, he wasn't gonna run it all the way in. He was too far out. So I don't know. So that was a crazy ending. I thought the original melee or whatever was because Lane Kiffin had come back. I didn't realize that the 4th and 24 call, which was super close, man. I was like, oh man, I can't believe it. Usually you don't even get that close to it.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So old Miss is, Lane Kiffin's doing his thing. And in the SEC too, I think this year more than anywhere, sometimes just get your W. Sometimes it's not going to be pretty.
It's never going to be pretty. It's never going to be easy.
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, I think the only one who has been making it look pretty so far has been Georgia. And now OU, Oklahoma.
You know what? It's like the Japanese. I think we've awoken a sleeping giant.
Ooh, that is a great metaphor line. I had a kind of a vision of what it would look like with Spencer Rattler. I kind of figured that it would be dealing. I knew he wasn't a runner. Like maybe he could run a little bit, but he wasn't like a real running threat. You know, with that offense, what they do, he would have run a few times. I figured he would just be dealing, like, you know, getting passes into tight windows because he's super confident in his arm, you know, getting it to his tight ends, receivers, backs, just
Mahomes, right?
Yeah, I guess that'd probably be, that'd be a great way to put it. But maybe not as good as athlete. Mahomes is a very good athlete too.
No, close, but yeah.
But that's I think that's a good way of like just like a point guard, just spreading it all around, going up and down. That's kind of what I thought we would see with Rattler. Struggled mightily, not scoring very many points. And I think in this day and age, you have to be able to score with.
They're relying on their defense.
Yeah,
which is shocking. They don't have to anymore.
Yeah, I think we had said that a few times. It's a role reversal, right? It was the defense that was coming through, and the offense that was the question mark coming in. You didn't know who was going to show up.
Now all of a sudden, Brooks, the running back, is looking great, and they can throw the ball to Mims now, and the other guy.
All of that. So in comes Caleb Williams, and I watched the TCU game because I wanted to see William. I didn't see the Texas game, and I was like, okay, let's see what he looks like. The stadium was electric, man. They had been waiting for this kid to play. True freshman. And then you had asked me, like, where is he from? He's like, he's from DC. Like, you don't.
Wait, is he a true freshman or a red shirt?
He's a true freshman, man. He is a true freshman. Because I had seen like, you know, I follow the recruiting and stuff like that, you know, for some programs, and I remember seeing him. I was like, damn, this kid looks like kind of like a grown man already. He looks, you know, pretty exciting player. I wish UCLA could have got him, but you know, whatever. Okay. But the stadium was electric, and I had this conversation with you. Like, this is a big program. This is huge expectations. This is, you know, coming from what he did off of Texas, and this kid is just taking it all in, and it doesn't faze him at all. He's dancing on the sidelines. He's energized. He's like, you know, he plays free like a wide receiver does, but at the quarterback position, which is kind of fun to watch. I think the only person who I saw kind of was able to have that kind of fun at that position was Tua.
Manziel did.
Yeah, that's true, Manziel. But I think Manziel, though, they were new in the SEC, and
he was rocking the SEC.
But he was rocking it. But he was playing with Cliff Kingsbury, and with the coach got fired from Arizona.
Black coach. I know you're talking about his name.
So he had a longer leash. You know what I mean? Like Saban's. You're not messing around with Saban, right? Like that. You not play. But Tua was able, because of the way he was able to play with Saban and bring like kind of a joy to the program. I think the same thing with Oklahoma. Like, I'm not really sure how Lincoln Riley's style is, but Caleb Williams is able to kind of to bring that. So the stadium is rocking, and man, a world difference in that offense now. And I think I said it that like
Sumlin. It's Sumlin,
Kevin
right?
Sumlin. Kevin Sumlin. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
thanks. When we look at the Oklahoma quarterbacks, when they went to the playoffs, you had Baker Mayfield, who could run. You had Kyler Murray, who could run. You had Jalen Hurts, who could run. Spencer Rattler really didn't fit that mold. Now you have Caleb Williams, who can run. And all of them out, you know, very good to varying degrees, very good passers. But I mean, the top two, Murray and Baker, were number one picks. So I mean,
Rattler was supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what we were looking at. I think he might just need to switch. You know, talking about transferring, I think that might be the way to go for him to find a program.
Can't go NFL now. He has to just gut this season out, go to the transfer portal, and then reprove himself.
Yeah.
Don't pick him up.
Yeah, somebody will pick him up. The arm talent is it's just it's too good there. So I just don't know if that was the right fit for him. So Caleb Williams is there, man, and that thing is supercharged. The defense is playing like they're they're excited to play. Like everybody is excited to play with him. Whatever it is, Caleb Williams has it. And like in the kind of Cam Newton, that might be a way. Like in the Cam Newton charisma area, he has that. He's not as big a athlete. I mean, Cam Newton was like Magic Johnson size, but he has that it factor. Watching him on the sidelines and interacting with his teammates and the fans and things like that.
They're going to be a tough out. They run the table with Caleb Williams playing like they are right now. That's not going to be an easy. I mean, you figure that's a matchup. So consider this a Alabama Oklahoma first round matchup. Who wins that game right now?
I think it's a shootout. I don't know. TCU's defense. This isn't the normal TCU program that's been a top 25, but they're a solid program. Yeah, they're competitive. You know what? I'd bump up my assessment of like the Ole Miss Arkansas teams to like an 8 because I think TCU is like a 7.
That high?
6 or 7. Yeah, you don't. You're. They're not
6. Yeah. So here's a question for you. Can TCU win the Pac-12?
TCU? I think they'd be competitive in there. They'd be in there. I mean,
wait. We know that. That's a given.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I don't know. No.
Who beat them?
Yeah, I mean,
in the West.
Oregon's not a team where you'd be like, oh, like they couldn't beat them. So yeah, they could win the Pac-12. Yeah. But
TCU's the bottom of the Big 12. Just
no, it's not the bottom.
Middle. I'm sorry, middle.
Yeah.
They're not the top. They're the middle. They're middling.
Yeah, they're in the middle because you have Oklahoma State and Oklahoma at the top right now, and I think Texas, blowing leads.
Yeah, I don't get Texas. I mean, that to me, they're still a good team. I don't
know. I wouldn't say they're a good team. They're a talented team, and they're trying to figure it out.
Yeah, well, yeah, but they got the best college football player on the planet right now, in my opinion.
Bijan Robinson.
And they can't hold leads. And I thought they would beat Oklahoma State, and Oklahoma State beat them. So how good is Oklahoma State? We'll see. Because they got a showdown coming up pretty soon.
They're gonna play. So I think Oklahoma still has a few teams left where it's like, okay, this is gonna be a challenge for them.
Just one that I can think of.
Well, they're gonna have a Big 12 championship game too. They don't have a Big 12 championship game? I thought they do.
Oh, the first and the number 1 and number 2 teams play in the championship game. So they're gonna have 2 games with Oklahoma State.
I don't know.
Yeah. The first place, because they're not divided in division, so it's the first place and the second place team playing the Big 12 championship game. And they're going to have a 2-game set with Oklahoma State, basically.
You said something right now. I was going to say something. I forgot.
The challenge with that is you play the same team twice. All that does is keep you from getting into the playoffs.
Yeah. That doesn't work out well.
The one-loss team for the Big 12 ain't going.
That's always hard to do.
Yeah.
Play a team back to back or multiple times the same season. That's a tough out.
And if you look at the schedule, I bet you it's pretty close to back to back. I bet you that's the last game on the schedule for them.
I have A&M wins again over Missou. I think we had talked about that. So I think they're I don't know if they're a dark horse, but it's like, hey, okay, let's keep an eye on them.
Who?
Really? A&M, Texas A&M.
They got 2 losses. They're done.
No, I'm just saying as a team to like watch out for as they kind of knock teams off. Like, and they're in the top 20. They're a top 20 team now. The win over.
They're a top 10 team, actually.
You think they're a top 10 team?
You know what? They took a hit. Take away that hit. That team's competing.
Mississippi State.
Mississippi State before their second string quarterback got his bearing.
Mississippi State, all before A&M's quarterback got his bearings.
Yeah, their second string quarterback got comfortable being a first stringer. I mean, sometimes that takes a minute.
It's a different team.
Yeah.
Well, I'm still not sold on A&M yet. I'm just kind of like watching them. I mean, they had top 20. They have top 20 talent, SEC talent. Now it's just a matter of putting it together and playing these.
They were
tough
5
teams.
in the country. Remember?
Yeah. Were they that high?
Yes. Before he got hurt, they were 5 in the country.
Oh man.
That's why I'm saying that.
The rankings at the beginning are always really crazy. Okay, and to go and to transition to that, so we have LSU just wins, and my boy Ed Orgeron. This is his last season in LSU.
See, I don't get that because how long has he been there? 3 years?
3 or 4.
And so I understand the trajectory and the trend are going backwards, but who are you going to get to replace him?
That was my question.
You're in the SEC West, not the toughest conference in the country, the toughest division in the toughest conference.
Right.
So it's like, who are you going to, and then when you get a cross divisional matchup in your conference, it's with Georgia and Florida or Tennessee. That's like, come on.
Yeah.
So what
I think somebody said there, I guess there had been like other off the field issues that had played a factor in it.
There may have been
he wasn't in control of the program.
I'm hearing that.
So okay, like
who are you gonna get?
Yeah. Who are you gonna get?
I know who's available.
Who?
Manny Diaz. Make that man an offer.
I had talked to you. I think that Ed Orgeron going to Miami would be a good fit. I think that would work.
I don't know.
It would be an improvement over Manny Diaz. He would recruit way better, and he knows Florida.
Okay.
I think he would fit in. Well, Miami is kind of more glitzy than the glitzy part of Florida, right?
Just be like Jimmy Johnson and let him play. He
would too, right? He would. I think the other thing too was his the star receiver Boutte is out for the year.
Yeah.
And then they had one of the top defensive backs out for the year, and then they had a
linemen were hurt. Your quarterback got hurt. I mean, you got all kind of injuries, and you're still competing.
He's still competing.
So I don't get it, but okay.
It's the SEC though, right?
SEC, man.
No excuses.
No excuses. You got to win. But how you going to win with Bama and Georgia in that conference?
Yeah.
But LSU has done it before. So that's why. They've done it before.
They have. They got pegged with who was the coach at Auburn when Cam Newton won?
Mazatlan?
Chiswick, I think. Gene Chiswick.
There you go.
He wins the 1 year, and then 2 years later. But I did like Gus Malzahn. Like that was an upgrade. And I think they plucked him out of high school. Or he might have been on staff already. But LSU, so I was seeing that the name that had come up, Dabo and Jimbo.
Huh?
Yeah.
For LSU?
For LSU. Dabo and Jimbo. But I don't know why
Jimbo ain't going nowhere.
I don't know why they would leave.
Dabo ain't leaving Clemson.
Why would I wouldn't leave Clemson. Like from hey man, I gotta, I can win the ACC and compete in the playoffs or go through that grind. No.
In fact, they're not going to the playoffs this year. They can still win the ACC.
Yes. I was looking at that. Who they were playing somebody.
North Carolina State.
And North Carolina State is ranked and Clemson isn't. It's like, that is very strange. It's been a long time.
Mm-hmm.
But they got young pups there, so they're allowed to. So Orgeron, I don't know who they go after, but I hope Orgeron either ends up at SC or Miami. East or West? You pick.
East.
You'd rather he be at Miami then?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'll take it, Orgeron.
All right.
As long as there's no baggage attached that I don't know about.
Baggage is what makes Miami Miami. You want the baggage. That's why you win.
Baggage is not in the coaches. I don't. We didn't have any coaches with baggage. Jimmy Johnson didn't have no baggage. Erickson didn't have no baggage. Coker didn't have no baggage. Butch Davis didn't have no baggage.
They bring baggage where it's like,
no,
let the players
Miami
play.
Is a Christian school that serves Christ.
It is a kingdom school.
Yeah, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
We just win.
Let's go take a look at the top 25. That's not the top 25. That is. Where's my share screen? All right, here's the top 25. Georgia, number 1. Your favorite team in college football, Cincinnati. Is that number 2?
No, they're not my favorite team. They're a fraud at the number 2 spot. It's a disgrace. I can't wait for the college football playoffs rankings to come out. I think you said on the 2nd.
November 2nd. Yeah. So we're what 2 weeks away? Yeah. About 2 weeks away.
Let them enjoy. In the meantime, they're going to crush Navy. Georgia's got to bye. Oklahoma's going to massacre Kansas. Bama at home against Tennessee. Tennessee, without their first-string quarterback, doesn't have a prayer.
Mm-hmm. As the other team that we're looking at, Ohio State. That's
the team that's going to see. That's the problem right there. If Ohio State wins out, they would have beaten Michigan. They would have beaten Penn State.
Mm-hmm.
So those are quality wins according to the rankings. And now you're going to throw Cincinnati. If Cincinnati wins out over Ohio State,
just because they beat Notre Dame.
Yeah, who's not good.
Notre Dame plays SC this week. So will you be rooting for USC?
I'm not going to watch that game.
I'm not saying watch it. I'm saying root for. Because if Notre Dame loses,
bring Notre Dame's the strength, the schedule down for Cincinnati.
Right.
That's the only quality win. Indiana wasn't a quality win. So yeah, I'll root for SC in that game.
Yeah.
And then you got Michigan. Cincinnati shouldn't be. I mean, if Michigan beats Ohio State, they deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Penn State and Oklahoma State. Well, Oklahoma State's they're gonna weed it. Them and Oklahoma are gonna weed each other out.
Mm-hmm.
Michigan State's gonna get weeded out. Oregon's done because they're not gonna be able to jump all those teams.
Well, Oregon plays powerhouse UCLA. Game day is going to be there this week.
I mean, let's talk about Oregon first. Let's talk about the Pac-12 chances. So you're going to get a loss by Penn State. 3 of these 4 teams are done: Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, and Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, Michigan State. So 3 of those 4 teams are done. Let's say Oregon wins out. So now you just rose up 4. So now you're at 6 because they're going to eat their own, right?
Mm-hmm.
That leaves, I'm actually giving you a pathway for Oregon. That puts them at 6. So Oklahoma or Oklahoma State go down. That if they're at 6.
Well, they will go down, right? Because Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are going to play each other. So they're.
But if they split, that's a problem for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Alabama playing Georgia in the SEC title game. So if Alabama gets a second loss, then you got Oregon at the 5. So you have Georgia 1, Cincinnati 2, let's say Oklahoma 3, Ohio State 4, Oregon's 5. Now, Oregon beat Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the committee give it to?
Probably give it to whoever looks better at the end of the year.
See, I am a tiebreaker guy. Had that. You forget who looked better at the end of the year. You played each other on the field. That was decided.
Yeah.
I give it to Oregon, even if I think Ohio State's better.
Well, you know what? UCLA could just end it all this weekend.
And Jesus could come this weekend too. But you know what's funny? UCLA, that game is at UCLA, right? It's in Pasadena.
Yeah, it's in Pasadena. Yeah, game day's coming.
You, UCLA could beat them. I mean, it's the Pac-12.
UCLA, after I've watched them, they're about a 6.
You ranking them with TCU?
Yeah. They're not a 5.
No, they're not. They're 4.
No way.
Okay. Name some. You put
Ole Miss.
Mississippi as a 7. So
No, I
TCU,
bumped them. I bumped them up. Remember, I was like, oh, after I kind of thought about it.
So
I was
TCU's
like, oh,
a 6. Name some other 6s that you are really ranking with UCLA.
All right, let's see.
Because Mississippi beats UCLA.
Baylor.
Baylor's not a 6, but okay. You're putting Baylor and TCU on the same page?
Yeah, they're in the same conference.
Okay, but not the same team. Where's Iowa?
Where is Iowa? Man, I don't like Iowa. They're a 7. They're about a 7. They play disciplined football.
They're a 6, like UCLA. I think UCLA could possibly beat Iowa, actually. Where do you put Michigan State?
Michigan State, they're a 5 to me, man. After watching them in that Miami game, this is not a good.
I think Michigan State is actually a 7.
You think Michigan State is a 7? Let's look at who Michigan State has played so far. Michigan State has played Northwestern, Youngstown, Miami, Nebraska, Western Kentucky, Rutgers, Indiana.
They won them all.
I would love UCLA to play that schedule.
UCLA would not be unbeaten after that schedule.
Yeah, they would.
You lost to Fresno.
Fresno State would beat all of these teams.
No, Fresno State would not beat all those teams.
Fresno State would beat all these teams.
Who did Fresno State lose to?
LSU.
They struggled against UNLV, and who beat them?
LSU would beat these teams.
Who beat Fresno State?
Who beat Fresno? I don't think they're in the top 25 anymore.
They're not. The next week they lost. So they struggled with UNLV, and then they lost to who?
It's Fresno State. Hold on, let me see. Scores. Let's see. They beat UConn. They lost to Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
They lost to Hawaii.
Thank you. I knew it was Hawaii. So stop with Fresno.
After playing a very physical UCLA team.
Yeah, very physical UCLA. Whatever.
Letdowns.
Whatever.
Letdowns happen.
So Fresno, no. And you lost to that team. So no, I'm not going to put you in there with TCU. I think the team that Cincinnati has to beat is SMU. I would rather Cincinnati play SMU than UCLA. I think SMU would torch UCLA. SMU's offense is legit.
I'd like to play SMU. That'd be a good fit.
Yeah, and you'd lose. So I would love to see that.
SMU, TCU. That's the caliber we're at right now.
Okay. A 6. All right. And
6.
And in the Pac-12, what would you say you were? What number are you in the Pac-12? Out of those 12, you're number what?
Probably like 4 or 5. 5.
Oregon's 1.
Oregon, I think Utah would beat us. I think Arizona State beat us. And then at the SC UCLA probably in there, but SC has more talent, but they fired the coach.
Those teams that you named are 6s.
Yeah.
At best. So your conference.
So we're a 5.5 then.
5.5. That's terrible. This is disgusting.
But that's
why you only got one ranked team.
You have to remember though too that we've got four wins this. I think 4 or 5 wins this year. Last year we only won 3. I think it was a short season.
You you're moving on up to the east
we're
side
trending up,
in
baby.
a D4 conference. I mean,
We're trending up, baby.
man, you got 5.5 as your second best team in the Pac-12.
It's
And
not
Oregon
good.
can't win that conference after
It's not.
beating Ohio State.
It's
I mean,
not
it's
good.
amazing.
It's not good. But I mean, what are the conferences of? Are you confident? Oh, I guess the Big 12 has Oklahoma, which has been Oklahoma.
Oklahoma State.
But Oklahoma State does this.
They do this.
They rise up, and then
They do.
the big game comes, and
And
then
they lose.
they lose one or two games. They lose the one big game, and then they'll lose one more, and they'll drop to like 16-21 somewhere in there, and that's where they'll finish.
Drop, but yeah. You're the
So
worst conference. I'm gonna put it like this. Guess who's making a move now? The AAC is adding teams to the conference.
they remember I told you I like that conference. That's a good football conference. They don't have the horses yet and the money behind it like the Pac-12 had, but if they had that
But what that did,
they would be a better conference. But they're getting rated anyway.
but that took. You guys can't expand now.
Yeah, that was dumb.
The
We should have
Mountain
gotten.
West
We
is
should
standing firm.
have. Should have gone after BYU. Should have gone after Boise State. I mean, the big one was they should have did whatever it took to get Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah,
It
but
was
you
eight
choked on
years.
that.
Yeah, they choked that away,
SEC didn't.
and they didn't.
But even after the fact, you could have tapped into SMU and got the Texas market.
I wanted Houston actually.
That too.
When
You coulda got
Houston
both.
was when
You
Houston
could
was
take
hot.
them, Houston, BYU, and pull from and Boise State.
Yeah, they're dumb, man.
So your conference will be mired in mediocrity for years, and then even in basketball, UCLA is ranked number 2.
I don't watch basketball, so I wouldn't be able to.
Yeah, but that's a hype ranking though. So, but in football, man, you guys are terrible. Oh,
well, I mean the ACC is not looking very good either.
No, the ACC won't go to the playoffs this year either. But they have more exciting teams. Pitt puts up points. They got some good offenses.
Pitt is like UCLA.
Yeah, Wake Forest is like UCLA this year anyway. So they're undefeated, putting up points. So they don't play any defense.
I think the Pac-12 needs to well. Never mind.
You're done.
Yeah.
I mean, you're done for the foreseeable future.
The conference expansion, they really screwed the pooch on that one.
Joe, you're done for the foreseeable future.
UCLA played Washington on Saturday, and it was like
and you really
Washington needs a new coach, I think.
You brought the game up? UCLA and Washington? Seriously?
Do you want to bring up the Miami game?
Miami, again, found another way to lose.
Just lose, baby.
Just lose, baby. We're going to figure this out. We're going to figure out a way to lose our game.
Man, Manny Diaz. Sorry, man.
You should have seen him after the game talking to Mac Brown. It was so uncomfortable for him. You could tell he didn't want to have that conversation because he was probably have his future on his mind after that game.
I think the future, like I'm talking bad about
Miami didn't play bad.
this year, ACC this year, but you figure next year Clemson rebounds and Mac Brown is in year 3.
North Carolina be good.
North Carolina will be better than it was this year.
Hopefully Miami will be better. I mean, 2-4. Miami's as bad as Miami has been. They haven't been 2-4. So.
Yeah, I don't know how that's the difference in expectations though, right? Ed Orgeron wins a game against a quality SEC opponent. Sorry, having won a national championship.
2 years ago,
not even 2 years out. It hasn't even been 2 years yet,
yeah.
and he's out. Whereas Manny Diaz is still there. There's never been anything exciting aside from the turnover chain. That anything on the field though, there hasn't been anything exciting where you're like, oh, like Miami is back. I mean, people had said that because they had won a few games. There was the ranking there, but I was like, you said it, I said it. I was like, I'm watching this football team. This does not look like a good football team. they've just,
They were saying Miami was back the year we started off 10-0 when we destroyed Notre Dame. Remember that?
was Manny Diaz when Manny Diaz was there, or was it the first year of the turnover chain?
First year of the turnover chain.
Yeah,
about 3 years ago.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, but I was
them being
telling people, this is a mirage. Miami's not good. Miami's not that good. I don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
I said Notre Dame isn't that good. And then the next week we lost to Pitt. At Pitt. I was like, told you. Yeah. Good teams ain't going to lose to Pitt after this.
No.
And then we got destroyed by Clemson. And then we got destroyed in the bowl game.
Yeah. This weekend the pickings look slim. There's not a top 25 matchup this week. So I think it's all being set up.
Pull it back up again. Let me get upset. I'll tell you who's gonna get upset. I'll tell you who's gonna go down.
So Georgia has the bye week, Cincinnati at Navy, Oklahoma, Kansas, Bama, Tennessee. I don't know. We'll see how it's backup quarterback to Ohio State, Michigan.
Watch the Oklahoma State game at Iowa State.
Iowa State, they're feisty.
There's your upset alert.
That was the one I was looking at. But I mean, as far as like a top 25 juicy matchup, we're just looking at upset alerts this week.
Watch Notre Michigan Dame, State. They play Michigan very tough.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised if LSU comes out, after all the talk about Ed Orgeron inspired to do something.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Wisconsin beats Iowa.
That wouldn't be a shock. Upset alert for Oregon.
And I wouldn't be surprised if SC beats Notre Dame.
UCLA. This is gonna be a big game.
And honestly, I would not be surprised if UCLA shocks the world against Oregon.
They don't have the dogs to be able to, like, they've had a few guys get nicked up off the field. They bring them back. I think that might change some things. But the thing with them though is Chip Kelly will have a game plan. And it'll be a very good game plan. It's just I don't know if they have the horses to keep up. That'll be it. And on defense, they give up big plays because they blitz. So it's and when they blitz and they don't get there, they get roasted in the back end. So that'll be the big thing. But you said the running back is out. They usually do well against the run. It's really the throwing game where they get caught up. Texas A&M, South Carolina. What do you think about that?
It's a massacre.
Who's the coach at South Carolina now?
I don't know. They're not good this year at all.
They haven't been good for a while.
I'm going to tell you the most entertaining game is Ole Miss against LSU. That looks like the most entertaining game.
Notre Dame SC is a rivalry game.
Yeah, but I'm talking about entertaining. I think Ole Miss and LSU will be the most entertaining game. I think the shocker will be Oklahoma State going down at Iowa State. And I think right behind them is going to be the Michigan game. I think Michigan State is going to shock.
That's next week though. That's the 30th.
Oh,
so it's not this week. So they have a bye week.
So Michigan plays Northwestern. Okay, they're not losing that game.
Yeah, Michigan's up here in Northwestern.
Then the shock. Then look for Iowa State to beat Oklahoma State.
I'm going UCLA over Oregon. I could see Iowa State, Oklahoma State.
I also like Mississippi State over Kentucky.
I actually think this. I wouldn't be surprised if Texas beats Baylor.
Nope, I didn't see that. I think Texas will beat Baylor.
Been 2 weeks in a row of rough losses, giving up double. I think it was double-digit leads. Pittsburgh, Clemson.
I think Clemson.
Yeah, I didn't realize that they were in the top 25.
Yeah, I think Pitt's going to beat Clemson.
Geez, look at Purdue winning the top 25.
And look at Texas San Antonio.
That's crazy. I didn't realize that they were in there. Let's see who they've played.
Nobody. Come on.
Illinois.
But look
Illinois,
at
Lamar,
that conference.
Memphis.
UNLV 24-17, whatever. Move up. So this all the way up. So this conference is taking with them. Scroll down to the AAC.
Oh, if it's Conference USA.
Yeah, they're taking Rice with them. I think UTSA is bolting. Wow, Central Florida is going to the Big 12.
Hold on, let me see where's.
I think Memphis is bolting.
This is Conference USA. Charlotte, Marshall, FAU, Kentucky, Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, sorry, FIU, Old Dominion. There's nobody in this conference who.
Yeah, but they're going to the AAC. I think UAB is leaving. I think Rice is leaving, and I think UTSA is leaving.
Yeah, I like me the Athletic American Conference. Houston, Cincinnati, SMU, Tulsa, East Carolina, Temple.
Memphis, and they're losing 3 of these guys.
Memphis was hot for a minute.
They were.
Navy had been very good for years. They haven't been the last 2 years, I think.
Well, though. Central Florida lost their quarterback. South Florida has been bad, but they're losing Houston, Cincinnati, and Central Florida.
Yeah, big dogs. Yeah, man. But I think it's not a very. There's going to be upsets for sure this weekend, but by game day being at the UCLA game, UCLA Oregon game, when UCLA is not even a top 25 team, it just tells you, what it's not a lot of big games this week. It's a big game for me. I'll be excited for it. So, Ricky's gonna go Mimi.
Yeah, Ricky's gonna Mimi.
You know what? Too UCLA though, it's a noon game. I think UCLA plays better early. I think that they're not the late games. I don't know if that's a small thing, but it's a thing where I think it matters for if you were picking. It's a small thing, but I think it matters.
It matters if you're a 5.5. You're right.
It does. You need all the advantages you can get.
Yeah.
Get a good night's sleep. Have a nice breakfast.
Sure.
Go play ball right away.
Terrible.
Other team is still sleeping because they were partying the night before. Because they're playing UCLA.
Despicable.
All right, brother. This is the Regis Keys College Football Edition. My friend Ricky. Love talking football with you, brother.
All right.
Take care, man.
You too.